Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'll talk about instead SSL strips and ARP spoofing. Now, attacking wireless networks in general is much more than just cracking the authentication keys. There are a lot of other options that you can use, especially in public Wi-Fi's where you can authenticate without any problems of whatsoever. And you can also, once you're in that public Wi-Fi or you're within a building that has a Wi-Fi to which people are connecting, perhaps it's not a public one, but it's of a company, or you're in a school or something like that, as long as you are authenticated to that Wi-Fi, you will be able to listen to all the traffic that goes on, that goes over that particular Wi-Fi that's up in the air. However, it's gonna more likely than not, it's gonna be encrypted, and it's not going to be very useful to you. You'll be able to see who, most likely you'll be able to see who is visiting what somewhere, uh, but you won't be able to see anything of relevance really. The problem is the HTTPS protocol, which encrypts your web traffic, and once you pass the login credentials, they are encrypted, so you can't actually see somebody else's login credentials, which is very problematic. Now, there is a program, it's called SSL strip, which converts, let me just put it to you this way, which converts HTTP to HTTPS. Sorry, the other way around. This would make absolutely no sense for pen testing. HTTPS to HTTP. Basically, it strips this S, it strips the SSL encryption, hence it is called the SSL strip. And once it is no longer encrypted, once the data over the network is transmitted in the form of regular HTTP packets in clear text, you will be able to see usernames and passwords of pretty much everybody on the network. Now, if they're using HTTP, you'll be able to do this anyway, but as I said, very few sites today of importance are using only HTTP protocol. Usually they have a port 443 open for SSL encryption, and you can capture the data, but there isn't really much or anything that you can do with it. Now, HTTPS has been it's showing cracks. Definitely, there were two Italian people who've claimed to have decoded it, to have decrypted it, but there are still issues to be resolved, and it's not fully cracked yet, so you won't be able to read information if it is encrypted. And for this purpose today, we will need several tools. We will need two tools. We will require SSL strip, so just go ahead and type in yum install SSL. Oops, not install. Rather instead search SSL strip, and yep, there we go. So this is what you would need to install. The tool provides a demonstration of HTTPS stripping attacks. It does much more than provide a demonstration, but oh well. Basically, just type in as before, yum install SSL strip, and this is going to go through. Because mine is already installed and latest version, nothing will happen, but you can also do this -y, and you will not be prompted for any questions during the installation if you pass this command. Now, the second tool that we're going to use is for DNS spoofing, because we need to convince the router of our identity, of our assumed identity, so to say. We need to trick it. We need to trick it into sending us the packets that the user sends to it. This is so we can actually strip the encryption, retransmit the packets to the router, and then the router transmits it over to the internet. I'll explain how this works in a moment, but before I do, there is just one more tool that you need to acquire. Let me just clear the screen. So yum search DSN. Is it this? Yep, there we go. It has a bit of a weird name here. Usually it's called ARP spoof on pretty much every other distro out there, but on Fedora it's called DSN IFF. And this is another networking tool which you need to install. Basically, what we shall be doing today is convincing the router to send us all packets that a user that a specific user transmits to the router, they will go back to us from the router. We will remove the encryption, forward the packets back to the router, and then the router will only transmit onto the net HTTP packets. Everything will be in clear text. We will be performing a man in the middle attack as this technique falls definitely into that category, and then we will be able to read the user credentials and practically take all the vital information as they were in clear text without any sort of problems. Now, uh, before I do this, it is of vital importance of me to stress out that this is not going to work always. This is not going to work out 100% of the time. Uh, with Internet Explorer, it's more likely to work than with Firefox or Chrome, but it's still going to work on Firefox and Chrome. However, perhaps some websites like PayPal, they have very strong defenses against it, so it's very unlikely that it's going to work there. Well, 2015 now, probably it won't work. I'm giving you 99.99% chance that it's not going to work on PayPal, and about 95% chance that it's not going to work on Facebook either. But, because people tend to recycle passwords and they tend to use exactly the same passwords on multiple sites, and they use pretty much their emails as their login credentials, as their username, you can just take other passwords that you gather and then attempt them on the sites where you cannot do this. So that can be very convenient, and that is definitely something I would advise you all against it. Do, if you have you can have one set of passwords for all of your financial places on the net, another set of passwords for all the irrelevant places on the net. I would definitely advise you to do that, primarily because these places, such as Gmail or Facebook or PayPal, they will be better protected. They will have the latest protection possible, and the passwords you use there, you shouldn't really use on some other websites that don't really have a good protection, because your credentials will get stolen while you're doing something on those sites, while you're registering on some forum or browsing a forum or something like that. You definitely shouldn't use the same password as on your PayPal, and somebody will then just try it on your PayPal account. There you go. Basically, they've effectively circumvented all the PayPal's protections and all the millions of dollars that they've invested into security systems. Uh, Key lesson for this: do not recycle passwords. I will show you how to, I will begin using this in the follow-up tutorial, but these are just a few basics that we had to cover before actually digging into this. Now, both of these tools, SSL strip and ARP spoof, are not installed by default on Fedora distribution. They are on Kali, so if you are running a live version of Kali, you will have both of these tools there. But if you're using Fedora, you have to install them as I did. The installation process is very straightforward, just as I showed you. Just type in one command for one and the other for the other. The only difference is the name of the packet. That's it, and it will install, no problems. Once you're done with that, come back and we'll actually get to use it in the follow-up tutorial. Until then, thank you for watching.